A shoebox is such a simple thing because it's made of cardboard. Most people just toss it out once they have been emptied. But not all shoeboxes are made equal. For the lucky ones, these six-sided cubes have the power to change a life. My name is Natalie O'Hara, and I'm one of the lucky ones. Last November, I arrived at Mosaic Church like I do most Sundays. But this week, there was a tower of empty shoeboxes near the main entrance. I wonder, what are these boxes for? Out of curiosity, I found a volunteer and asked. This volunteer went on to explain that these boxes were part of the Operation Christmas Child program. The plan was to fill these boxes with gifts and send them to kids all over the world. I immediately burst into tears as I was taken back to my childhood. I remember that day because I was a little girl on the other side of the world, anxiously awaiting a shoebox of my own. The needs in my life were so great, and the solution seemed so small. But when my box finally arrived, I received it with a thankful heart. Its contents were nothing special to most. Candies, toys, a Bible, and a photograph of a young American girl with a simple note saying, "God bless you." But with that small gesture, my world was changed. I felt loved. I mattered to someone. Suddenly, I knew there were good people in the world. This American girl didn't speak Spanish, but she didn't let that stop her from sending a gift. It did not matter who I was or where I was from. She expressed compassion and kindness by sending me a shoebox. As I stood there crying by the stack of boxes, it was as if God was telling me, "I have blessed you, my daughter. Now it's your turn to be on the other side of the blessing." But the calling was bigger than just me. It was an opportunity for me to teach my children about compassion and generosity. So we took boxes home with us to pack up and send. While we prepared the boxes, we looked at the map of the world, wondering where these boxes would end up. We knew God was smiling down on us in this moment, where we could return the blessing some 20 years later. This experience was one of the greatest memories we have had as a family, and it all started with a little girl, a shoebox, and a lot of love. This American girl's legacy will live on my life and the lives of my children and for generations to come.
Well, good morning. Welcome. So good to see you guys. As always, we're thankful you chose to spend some time with us. If this is the first time for you, very special welcome to you. We'd love to get a chance to meet you. So here's the deal. We're going to ask you, if you haven't already stopped by the Connect desk on the way in, please do so on the way out. You can actually grab a Connect card in front of you, fill that out, drop it off the Connect desk. We just want to meet you, tell you about this place we love called Mosaic Church, and give you a free gift. Well, with that said, we've got a really awesome service set for you guys. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to worshiping in song with you. So let's go ahead and stand together to sing.
Let's get excited this morning. Come on. Here we go. Let's praise him today. Let praise be a weapon that silences the enemy. Let praise be a weapon that conquers all anxiety. Let it rise. Let praise arise. what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. Oh, this is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. Oh, this is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. Oh, this is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Oh, we cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side, forever lifted high. With all creation by God, we praise you. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Oh, we cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side, forever lift him high. With all creation by God, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, yeah, praise him this morning. Let's focus on his amazing love this morning as we sing. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathe your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it, but still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, when I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You've been so kind, Lord. You have been so, so kind to me. climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Come on, declare it today. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Sing again. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Come on, thank him for his love this morning.
Would you pray with me? God, we just want to just pause, and God, thank you so much that the Lord, there is absolutely nothing we can do to run away from your love, God. There's no places we can go. There's no places we can run from, run to, run away. That this doesn't matter, God. Your love is always there for us, and for that, God, we praise you. In your name we pray. Amen. You can go ahead and be seated. At this time, we're going to continue worshiping through giving, but I feel like I should hit pause. Hey, welcome, by the way. I was up here about 10 minutes ago, and half of you were not here, so welcome to all you guys who came. It's okay. If you're late, you're fine. We're not trying to shame you at all. We're just glad you're here. So I want to say welcome to you all. Here's the deal. As we talk about giving, we give really for two reasons. First and foremost, because out of appreciation of God, we want to give back a portion of what he's blessed us with. And the second reason why is because we believe that the organization, in this case the church, Mosaic Church, is the place that God's calling you to give so that we can reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And if you choose to give here, we just want to say thank you so much for partnering with us. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things God's been doing in just the last 7 to 8 days here. And as I share these things, I want you to know we're not saying, hey, this is because of Mosaic Church. We're not saying this is because of the staff or the volunteers or anything. We're saying because God is at work. One of the things we say in staff a lot of times around here is when God moves, we know he's moving because we're simply not that good. But in the last 8 days, we've had 5. We're going to count 5, 6, and 7 together. We've had 5 people say that they want to meet with somebody to talk about who Jesus is because they're really trying to explore who Christ is and whether or not they want to put their faith in him. In the last 8 days, we've had 6 people say, you know what, I want to be baptized. I want to go public with my faith in Jesus Christ. And last, and certainly not least, in the last 8 days, we've had 7 people come to believing knowledge of Jesus Christ, making him the Savior of their lives. So let's clap together for all that. So as always, it's fun just to sit back and watch and be a part of what God's doing as he flexes his muscles on his own behalf. So thank you guys so much for partnering with us and for giving, your service, your friendship. It really is making a difference. Well, here's the deal. If you're thinking about getting baptized, you've been pondering it, we've got a baptism service next week. We would love to get you involved in that. If you want to know more about that or get signed up, just grab that Connect card in the seat back in front of you. Fill out your information. On the back, there's a little check box you can check that says, I'm interested in being baptized. Drop that off at the Connect desk, and one of the staff will reach out to you next week. Well, Brad's about to come up here as we close up our series. And so as he comes up here, go and check out the side screens with me.
Good morning, everybody. So glad that you guys are with us. Today we are concluding a series that we started just a few weeks ago. The title of the series is called This Changes Everything. Each week of this series, I've asked you the same question. I want to ask it one more time again today. The question is simply this: have you ever lived through a moment in time that was so significant or so monumental that as soon as it happened, you knew immediately, this changes everything? Throughout this series, we've talked about a lot of moments like that. We've talked about circumstances that we've all lived through. We've talked about in week 2 the choices that we've all made. And I think that after those 2 weeks, I suspect most of us would all agree that yes, there are some circumstances and there are some choices that we can make that really will change everything in our lives. But I'm betting that you have never thought about the one that I'm going to talk about today. Did you know that circumstances can change everything and choices can change everything? But did you also know that a command can change everything? It really can. And so today what I want to do is I want to talk to you about a life-changing command that Jesus gave while he was on the earth. In the final 24 hours of his life, Jesus gave his followers what he would call a new command. Now, giving out commands in Jesus' day, that was nothing new. There were a lot of rabbis in Jesus' day. They were spiritual leaders. They were teachers of God's people. And these rabbis would go around and they would give people commands all the time. This was a very normal practice, okay? But the difference between all of the other rabbis and Rabbi Jesus is that all of the other rabbis gave their followers over 600 different commands that they expected their followers to live by. Jesus comes along and Jesus says, I'm going to simplify it for you. I'm only going to give you one. How many of you have ever seen the old City Slickers movie? Anybody remember that? Yeah. Okay, you may remember that scene where Cowboy Curly is talking to Billy Crystal and he says to him, man, the secret of life is only one thing. And Billy Crystal's like, really, what is the one thing? And he says, that's the problem, man. You got to figure out what the one thing is. The good news for you today is that you don't have to figure it out, but because Jesus is going to tell us what the one thing is. In fact, Jesus isn't just going to tell us. Jesus is going to command it of us, because Jesus knows that this one rule in life, it has the potential to change your life. This one rule in life has the potential to change someone else's life. Jesus knows that this one rule in life contains the potential to change the whole world. In fact, that this was so important to Jesus that Jesus said, this one thing is what I want my disciples to be known for. And so let's just talk for a minute about what we're really known for. People are known for all kinds of things. Some of us are known for the hobbies that we enjoy. Some people are known for their careers and what they do for a living. Some people are known for their big personality. Some people are known for all the money that they have or the car they drive. People are known for all kinds of things. In fact, last weekend, I kind of saw this and started thinking about this in a slightly different way. Last weekend, I had the opportunity to go to the LSU Tennessee football game over in Baton Rouge. I didn't think I was going to go, but my buddies called me up after the Tennessee-Florida game, and they were like, hey, dude, we're coming into town because we want to go to that game. And so I was like, well, you guys can stay with me. A lot of you may not know this, but I grew up in East Tennessee, about an hour east of Knoxville. So a lot of friends who live in that part of the country, and so they were going to come into town, and they wanted to go over to Death Valley. I assured them, I am not going to Death Valley, okay, for a lot of reasons. One, I've heard stories about things that happen in Death Valley and not sure I want to be there. And number two, I go to bed at 9 o'clock, okay, every night, but especially on a Saturday night, given what I do on Sunday morning. So I'm thinking to myself, dude, like that game's probably going to be late in the afternoon, maybe even a night game. There's no way I'm rolling into Ocean Springs after midnight and trying to get up and do what I do on Sunday morning. And so a couple of days later, after they asked if they could come stay with us, I said, yeah, you guys can stay with us. They called me up and they said, hey, game's at 11 o'clock, bro, and we have an extra ticket, so there's no excuse. You are going with us to the game. And so we got up really early on Saturday morning, made the trek over to Death Valley. But I realized that when you go to a game like that, it's pretty easy to tell who people love and which team they follow. And let me tell you, that's not just true for college football. This is true in life because followers are known for certain things. And so let's just think for a second about what Tennessee is known for, right? I mean, except for last night, we became known for beating Alabama. But that's not what I really want to talk about today, okay? But I mean, if you guys want to talk about it, I mean, I'm happy to talk about it because we haven't done that in like 200 years, okay? And so if you're a Bama fan, just give us our 15 minutes of fame right here, okay? Same for all you LSU fans that we're getting ready to talk about what happened last weekend, right? Just give us a minute because we don't get to experience this kind of thing very often. If you think about Tennessee fans, though, we're really known for two things, and I'll admit it, both are obnoxious, okay? We're known for some obnoxious colors. Like, nobody goes to the store and goes, wow, that's a beautiful color of orange. I think I want to buy that shirt, okay? Unless it's Halloween or you're a construction worker. Other than that, nobody ever goes to the store and says, I want to buy a shirt that's that color. The other thing that we're known for is we're known for an obnoxious song, right? So when we rolled up into Tiger Stadium, I got a picture throw up on the screen. It was pretty obvious who came into the south end zone. That's kind of where all the fans were hanging out, and they just got a little clip in case you just wanted to hear the song. We'll roll the clip unless the guys in the tech booth hate me. There we go. My favorite part is that there are no LSU fans anywhere in Tiger Stadium, right? They had left the building. They did not want to hear it. And the truth is, I don't blame them for not wanting to hear it. Probably not their favorite song, right? Tennessee fans are known for those two things. Now, I want to tell you, what you are known for is an indicator of who you follow. And I'm done with college football. I want to talk to you about what Jesus said I want my people to be known for. Let me ask you, if you're a follower of Jesus, what are you known for? Or maybe I could ask it like this, not just what are you known for, what are Jesus followers in general known for? Or maybe I would ask it like this, what are we here at Mosaic known for? I'm not even sure that I want to know the answer to all of those questions because for far too long, Christians have been known for the wrong things. Christians have had a bad reputation, and honestly, I think if Christians have an image problem, it's far more likely that we have an integrity problem. In that post, he goes on to identify the number one complaint that people have about Christians. Any idea what it is? It's that we're judgmental. That's what we're known for. Now, within the Christian community, are we supposed to be the kind of people who call one another out and challenge one another to live our lives more like Jesus lived his life? Absolutely we are. Within the Christian community, are we supposed to hold one another accountable and sharpen one another so that we're always growing and we're always getting better? You better believe it. But if you were to go back and you were to read the book of Acts, which is a story of the earliest followers of Jesus, after Jesus had left the earth and this thing called the church got established, you would discover that no one outside the Christian community ever accused those inside the Christian community of being judgmental. They had the ability to hold one another accountable without coming across as judgmental. Being judgmental is not what Christians were known for in the book of Acts. And yet here's why it matters to Carrie Newhoff, and here's why it should matter to us here at Mosaic who are followers of Jesus today. Please catch this. He goes on in the article to say, very few people get judged into life change. This is what we're after, man. We want people to know Jesus and become like Jesus, okay? But very few people get judged into life change. Far more people get loved into life change. It also occurred to me that the presence of judgment almost always means an absence of love. People will never believe that you love them if they sense that you don't even like them. I read that and I think to myself, what are we known for? Are we known for judging people, or are we known for loving people? And what does Jesus want us to be known for? Like, what did Jesus say is the one thing? Well, he told us in John chapter 13. Jesus is now toward the very end of his life, very end of his ministry. He is 15 to 18 hours away from dying. And with some of his final words that he would ever speak on the earth, he says, this is what I want you to be known for, because this changes everything. John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35. Jesus is speaking. A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples. This is what I want you to be known for, Jesus is saying. If you love one another. And so, what are followers of Jesus supposed to be known for? If we were going to boil it all down to just one thing, what would it be? I know the world would say, man, I'm making observations, and they would probably reach all kinds of conclusions. We've talked about the judgmental issue. I don't want to talk about that anymore. It would be beating a dead horse. I don't want to do that. That may be what some people believe. But I bet there are a lot of other people who would kind of make observations about the Christian community, and they may say that we're known for a lot of other things. They may look at us and go, they're known for going to church. You woke up early on a Sunday morning, you left the neighborhood, they're thinking to themselves, why would you waste a valuable part of your weekend doing that? You're known for going to church. I would tell you that's a good thing. But it's not the number one thing. Other people may look at the Christian community and go, they're known for reading their Bible. Like when I talk to them, they're always quoting the Bible. They seem to read the Bible. If you go to their church, their pastor teaches straight through the Bible. I would tell you that that is a great thing. But for Jesus, that was not the number one thing. Other people may look at us and they may say Christians are known for their good morality, known as a people of prayer. Those people believe that they can talk to God. They're always saying, I'll be praying for you. They may look at us, they may go, man, those people are all about the end times. I would tell you none of those are a bad thing, but I want to be really, really clear with you. None of those things are the number one thing. Sadly, followers of Jesus today seem to have missed the new command that Jesus gave on the last night of his life. We need to get this right, because what you are known for is an indicator of who you follow. And so Jesus said, by this, everyone will know that you belong to me if you love one another. And so if you're a follower of Jesus and you're kind of going through life going, man, what is it that God expects out of me? What is he looking for in my life? How does God evaluate my spiritual growth or evaluate spiritual maturity in the life of a human being? It's one thing. It's loving one another. This is why Peter Scazzaro once wrote that loving people well is the defining characteristic of a mature Christian. It's not a long, exhausting list of rules that you have to keep. There's one thing, and it's called love. We have an obligation that Jesus gave us to love other people. Now, this was a huge problem in Jesus' day because a lot of the religious people in his day, they claimed they were good with God even though they treated other people like garbage. The religious people of his day, they saw no connection between their relationship with God and their relationship with other people. They saw these two things as two totally different things. They couldn't even see how one had anything to do with the other. So think back to first century Christianity. Think back to what we read in the New Testament for just a minute. It is no secret that the Jewish people in the first century at the time of Jesus, they looked at other nations as though they were inferior nations. They looked at other people as though they were inferior people. Truth is, they were a little bit racist. They saw themselves as God's chosen people. They saw themselves as special people with special privileges. That's what they were known for. That these people, they failed to understand that yes, they had special privileges, but God had also given them a special responsibility, and that responsibility was to be his representative in the world and make sure that the world knows just how much God really does love humanity. And so all these religious people that were living in Jesus' day, they completely missed it. Instead of loving people of other races, they actually hated people of other races. They couldn't stand the Gentiles to the point that they wouldn't even eat with the Gentiles. There's a whole story about it in the book of Acts. I taught on that story once, and my neighbor came up to me in the driveway after the service. She said, man, I saw your service today, and I hope you realize you called St. Peter, the original pope, a racist. And I said, yes, I did, because he was a racist. Like, Paul had to confront him, but because he said, I'm too good to eat with these Gentile people. He was acting as a racist, and that way in which he was acting was contradictory to everything that Jesus had taught him. And it wasn't just the Gentiles. You need to know, man, when it came to the Samaritans, they despised the Samaritans. Excuse my crude language today, but they saw the Samaritans as what they would have called half-breeds. They so despised the Samaritans, these religious people, that they would walk miles out of their way because they didn't want to step foot in the town of Samaria. These religious people that were teaching other people about God. They treated other races like garbage. They treated women and children like garbage. They treated poor people like garbage. And you better believe that they treated tax collectors and sinners like garbage. And I'm telling you, I don't think it was just religious people in Jesus' day. I think there are a lot of religious people who are just like that to this day. This is what religious people do. They develop a kind of superiority complex. And so Jesus is coming onto the scene, and Jesus says, I got a new command that's going to challenge all of that. And it better change all of that. And so just think about his life for just a minute. Think about all the things that Jesus did to kind of lay the groundwork before he dropped this new command on his disciples. When it came to how children were treated, Jesus scolded his own disciples, and then he set a new example for how children were supposed to be treated. When it came to other races, Jesus made up a story called the parable of the Good Samaritan. And I'm telling you, the people in his day who heard that story probably thought, this dude's crazy for even telling this story. The religious people in his day would have thought to themselves, what do you mean the Good Samaritan? That there's no such thing as a good Samaritan. But he told the story because he wanted to show these people how you're supposed to treat people of other races. You can't claim to be good with God and then turn around and treat other people like garbage. When it came to all of the people in the world who had made big mistakes and they had big regrets, Jesus would roll up on the scene and say, I know these people are known for all the wrong things. I know they have a bad reputation, but I'm going to do something and then later teach something that will change all of that. So we rolled up on this guy named Matthew. And Matthew was a guy who had a really bad reputation. He had spent his whole life stealing from other people and getting really rich in the process. Everybody in town hated Matthew and guys like Matthew. So here comes Jesus. Jesus rolls up on Matthew one day while he's sitting at a table out in public collecting money from people as a tax collector would do. And Jesus rolls up on him and he looks Matthew up and down. And I bet you everybody in the crowd that day was thinking to themselves, man, what is Jesus going to say to a guy like that? And Jesus looked Matthew in the eye. And Jesus said, Matthew, I want to have a relationship with you. And he told Matthew, I want you to get up and I want you to follow me. And then Jesus went to Matthew's house, and all the religious people lost their mind because Jesus was eating dinner with a bad guy like Matthew and all of his really bad friends. And Jesus did it because he said, I'm trying to show you a new way to treat other people. This is the way you treat people who don't think the way you think. They don't look the way you look. They don't even act the way you act. He modeled it, and then he taught it because he didn't want his followers to miss it. He wanted them to know you cannot claim to be good with God and treat other people like garbage. You can't go out there and continue this movement and treat other people the way all of these other religious people have been treating other people. You can't claim to be good with God and treat people like that. This new command, it really was intended to change everything. No more godly people who are terrible bosses. No more godly people who are awful spouses and abusive parents. No more godly people who are walking around in life using other people for sexual gratification. No more godly students who are disrespecting their father or their mother. No more godly people who are living like racist or chauvinists. No more godly people who are treating other people like garbage. This new command really was intended to change everything. And I think that those original followers of Jesus, I think they got it. In fact, years after Jesus had left the earth, these guys were like so blown away by what Jesus did and what Jesus taught that they decided, we probably need to write this down for the rest of the world. And so this guy named Matthew, the same tax collector, bad boy that I just told you about, he was going to write down the story of Jesus because it impacted his life in such a profound way. And so as Matthew was sitting there thinking, man, what am I going to say to people as I try to summarize and capture who Jesus was and what he taught us? He thought to himself, oh, yeah. I got to include this. Matthew chapter 5, 23 and 24. Matthew wrote this. He's recording the words of Jesus. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come back and offer your gift. You know what Matthew was saying? He was saying, man, you can't be good with God and be at odds with other people. You got to go fix that. And then you can come back and you can have a great time in the presence of the Lord. God is not just concerned about your relationship with Him. He is just as concerned about your relationship with other people. This other guy named John, he put it like this in 1 John chapter 4, verse 19. He was a follower of Jesus. He wrote the book that we're studying this year. This is what he said. He said, we love because He first loved us. It starts with Him. Man, the way He loved us has ramifications for the way in which we treat other people. And then he added this down in verse 20, very next verse. He said, so whoever claims to love God, yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. This right here was a major paradigm shift for these guys, but they got it. And I think they got it not just because of everything that Jesus said. I think they got it because of everything that Jesus did. And so I want to ask you, is love what you are known for? Like when people look at your life, when people talk about you behind your back, is love what you are known for? There are a lot of religious people who claim to love God and they struggle to love other people. I started the message with something that happened earlier this year in Tiger Stadium. And I want to end the message with something that happened earlier this year in Tiger Stadium. On April 30th of this year, a guy by the name of Garth Brooks, anybody ever heard of that guy? Yeah. He did a concert for like 100,000 people. And that night, as he did the concert, he played his very last song. He was wrapping up his show. And then a lot like Jesus, Garth had a final message for all of his followers. One final thing that he would say, one final thing that he would do that had the potential to change everything. I want you to check it out. I love it because it echoes everything that Jesus is saying. A man in front of his followers saying, I love you. Now make sure you love one another. And Garth didn't just say it, he took some time to show it. But because he knew this right here, it could change everything. So he sat down on that stage, hugged a woman's neck who was fighting for her life. And when you watch that scene, you start to realize just how powerful of a thing love really is. I want you to know, Mosaic, that a little love can change someone's life in a big way. Can you imagine what would happen if all of us here at Mosaic and everybody watching online decided we're going to live our life like this? I don't care what we've been known for in the past, but this is what I'm going to be known for the rest of my life. Loving other people, regardless of what they look like, regardless of how they think, regardless of how they live. I'm going to love people the way Jesus loved people. If we didn't just say it, but we took the time to show it, I'm telling you right now, it would change everything. And so I want to say to Mosaic what Garth said to his people and what Jesus said to his people. Mosaic, make sure you love one another. Some of you, it's hard for you to love other people because you haven't yet experienced the love of God in your life. If that's you, I am so glad you came today because I want you to leave here understanding what Jesus was really all about. Jesus didn't just say that he loved you over and over and over again. Jesus tried to show the world how much he loved them. And if the truth be told, on that night, Jesus could have looked at his followers and said, I've been patient with you. I have been gracious toward you. I have taught you. I have served you. I have fed you. I have led you. But you ain't seen nothing yet. Because now I'm going to die for you. A few hours later, John chapter 15, verse 13, Jesus said this, greater love has no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. Will you pray with me? If you're here today and you do not have a relationship with Jesus and you didn't understand the love of Jesus and what he really came to represent or be, I want you right here, right now to accept Jesus for who he is. Don't evaluate Jesus based on your experience with Christians. Today, just see that Jesus really does love you. He didn't just say it. He showed it when he went to a cross to die for the sins of his people. Could you right here, right now, right where you sit, just whisper a prayer to God and say, God, I've never known a love like that. God, I need a love like that. I'm trusting that Jesus came to forgive my sins, to heal my relationships, and to lead my life. Man, if that's a prayer that you prayed, I would love to know about it. You can either fill out that Connect card that's in the seat pocket in front of you, or you can find one on our website under the Get Connected tab, or even on our app. Let us know that you put your faith in Jesus so that we can talk to you about next steps like baptism that we're having next week here at Mosaic. For the rest of us who are followers of Jesus, seriously, what are you known for? Would you make a commitment right here, right now to say, from this day forward, I'm going to be known for the way that I love other people. God, help us to grow to become more like Jesus. I pray it all in Christ's name. Amen. At this time, I'm going to ask the band to lead us in a closing song that really helps us make and verbalize that kind of commitment that I just asked you to make as someone who loves other people. And then after this song, I'm going to come back out. It's only 10:20, so I saved myself a little bit of time because there's something really important that I want to talk to you about before you leave.
We are the change the world is waiting for. We've got a love the world is desperate for. We will lead and take to your streets. And now's the time for us to rise and carry hope and let love shine and show this world that mercy is alive. And now's the time for us to rise and carry hope to hopeless eyes and show this world that mercy is alive. We're not afraid. We will abandon all to hear your name on the lips across the world. We will run in the wake of your love. And now's the time for us to rise and carry hope and let love shine and show this world that mercy is alive. And now's the time for us to rise and carry hope to hopeless eyes and show this world that mercy is
Man, that is what it's all about, guys. That's why God has us here, not just special people. We have a real responsibility, and I hope that we'll be the kind of people who will live out the mission that Jesus gave us and live in a way that really communicates that we love one another. Hey, I want to take just a minute. I promise I won't keep you long. I want to tell you about a new series that we're kicking off next weekend. Here at Mosaic Church, we always want to be a church where people feel welcomed. We want people to feel like I could go to that church even if I don't think the way they think or even live the way they live. And so every year, what I try to do is I look for a couple of series where the text really seems to engage well with people who may not yet be followers of Jesus. And so as I was working through John chapter 14, I landed on these 3 statements that Jesus made that are honestly pretty shocking. And I think it causes a lot of honest questions for people who are not followers of Jesus. And so for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be tackling each one of those statements. And I want people to come here. The title of the new series is actually called Christians Might Be Crazy, okay? And we have our worship leader, Wes, in a straight jacket, which is, so fitting, right? It's kind of a funny title, but let me tell you something. I think that's what a lot of people really believe. I think there are a lot of people on the Mississippi Gulf Coast who think to themselves, Christians have lost their minds. That they believe things that I can't believe normal, sane people would believe. And the reason I think they conclude that is because they're just looking at things on the surface level. That if you were to take a little bit of time and dig beneath the surface, you may start to understand not just why Jesus said it, but maybe that Jesus was right when he said it. And so if you have friends, neighbors, co-workers, relatives that are a little bit skeptical of Christianity, or maybe they're even cynical about Christianity, maybe they've even made fun of you for your faith, I want you to tell them about the new series and invite them to join us for the next few weeks here at Mosaic. I hope you'll join us. I hope they'll join us because I believe God's going to do great things when we love people well and when we make Jesus clear. Hope to see you guys next weekend.